Europe is changing. The landscapes we know and love are shifting before our eyes, and the climate that once defined our seasons is no longer predictable. Across the continent, people are waking up to a new reality, one where the weather is no longer a background detail, but a force that shapes our daily lives. The weather we once knew is becoming a memory. Those gentle spring showers and crisp winter mornings we remember from childhood are fading into the past, replaced by extremes that feel unfamiliar and unsettling. Summers are hotter, rains heavier, and winters more unpredictable. This is our new reality. Heat waves scorch city streets, sudden downpours flood neighborhoods, and snowstorms arrive when we least expect them. The seasons themselves seem to blur, making it harder to plan, to grow, and to feel secure. From Greece's scorched beaches to Germany's flooded towns, communities are feeling nature's force like never before. The devastation is not just on the news, it's in our homes, our workplaces, and our everyday routines. Recovery is slow, and the emotional toll is deep. The rhythm of the seasons has been disrupted, leaving uncertainty and damage in its wake. Farmers watch their crops wilt or wash away, families repair homes again and again, and the sense of stability that once came with the turning of the year is slipping away. This isn't just bad luck, it's a pattern scientists have warned about for years. Decades of research pointed to these changes, and now, the data is undeniable. Experts gather to analyze trends, share findings, and urge action, but the pace of change is relentless. Now, we're living the consequences. Record heat, wildfires, and floods are the new normal. Paris swelters under unprecedented temperatures. Spain battles raging wildfires, and Central Europe faces floods that upend entire communities. These events are no longer rare, they are expected. Our infrastructure and health systems are strained, and agriculture struggles with droughts and floods. Hospitals fill with patients suffering from heat stress, while farmers face ruined harvests and uncertain futures. Roads, bridges, and power lines are pushed to their limits, revealing vulnerabilities we can no longer ignore. The stability we took for granted is being tested. Weather is now an active, often destructive force. Communities must adapt quickly, finding new ways to stay safe and connected, as storms, heat, and cold disrupt daily life. As of November 26, 2025, Europe is bracing for more volatility. Emergency alerts are becoming routine, and families prepare for the unexpected, knowing that the next storm or heat wave could arrive at any moment. The memory of a brutal summer lingers, and forecasts warn of a turbulent winter ahead. Children stay indoors as playgrounds bake in the sun, while cities brace for snow and ice that could paralyze transport and daily life. In this video, we'll explore the recent wave of extreme weather, its costs, and the science behind it. We'll look at the numbers, the stories, and the research that explain why these changes are happening, and what they mean for all of us. We'll introduce a new European initiative for clarity after disasters. This effort aims to help communities recover faster, share information, and build resilience for the future. And we'll discuss what the future may hold, and how we can protect ourselves. From preparing emergency kits, to rebuilding stronger homes and restoring our environment, we all have a role to play in facing Europe's new weather reality. The last 2 years have left deep, unmistakable scars on Europe. Scars that are visible not just on the land, but in the lives of millions. From the countryside to the heart of the cities, the continent has been battered by relentless extremes. The summer of 2023 brought historic, unrelenting heat. Temperatures soared above 45 degrees, turning once bustling cities into stifling ovens and triggering a continent-wide public health crisis. Hospitals overflowed, and vulnerable communities suffered the most as the heat wave lingered for weeks. Wildfires raged across Greece and Italy, forcing thousands to flee their homes. Ancient forests and olive groves, some centuries old, were reduced to ash, and the air was thick with smoke for days on end. When the heat finally broke, it was replaced by violent storms that battered Central and Eastern Europe. Torrential rains unleashed flash floods, sweeping through towns and leaving destruction in their wake. Communities faced power outages, damaged infrastructure, and the daunting task of rebuilding. In 2024, the cycle of fire and flood only intensified. Wildfires in August burned hotter and faster than ever before, overwhelming firefighters and threatening new regions that had never faced such danger. Smoke choked entire cities, turning skies an eerie orange and forcing residents indoors. Entire villages were lost, their histories and homes erased in a matter of hours. A deadly June heatwave tripled air pollution deaths in major cities, as smog and heat combined to create hazardous conditions. Emergency rooms filled with patients suffering from heat stroke and respiratory distress. These events aren't isolated. They're part of a clear, accelerating trend. Each disaster builds on the last, pushing communities and governments to their limits. Europe is being reshaped by forces growing stronger each year. Coastlines erode, landscapes change, and the marks of disaster are everywhere, from battered infrastructure to altered ecosystems. The stable, predictable climate of the past is gone. Now, Europe must prepare for a future defined by greater volatility, uncertainty, and risk. The warning is clear. Europe is on the front line of the climate crisis, and the time to act is now, before these scars become permanent. The wild weather of recent years has come with a staggering price tag. In summer 2024 alone, extreme events caused at least $43 billion in short-term losses across the EU. This figure represents lost productivity, damaged goods, and disrupted supply chains. Mediterranean countries like Greece and Cyprus suffered disproportionately, with losses over 1% of their economies. Tourism and agriculture, vital sectors, were hit hardest. The $43 billion estimate is conservative. Rebuilding costs and long-term impacts push the total much higher. Experts warn that annual losses could reach $126 billion by 2029 if trends continue. Such recurring losses threaten economic stability and growth across Europe. Money that could fund schools or hospitals is diverted to rebuilding. The bill for climate inaction is growing every year. Economic losses are only part of the story. The human cost is even greater. Behind every statistic is a person, a family, a community whose lives are changed forever. The emotional and psychological scars left by disasters often linger long after the headlines fade. Heat waves in 2023 and 2024 caused thousands of excess deaths, especially among the vulnerable. Elderly people, children, and those with chronic illnesses were at greatest risk, often unable to escape the relentless heat or access adequate care. Hospitals were overwhelmed, and the psychological toll, anxiety, depression, trauma, was immense. Mental health services struggled to keep up as survivors faced nightmares, sleepless nights, and a constant sense of uncertainty about the future. When disasters strike, communities are uprooted, homes, possessions, and social networks are lost. The sense of safety and belonging is shattered, leaving people to pick up the pieces of their lives with little support. Rebuilding is slow, and some never fully recover. For many, temporary shelters become semi-permanent, and the dream of returning to normal life slips further away with each passing month. The loss of cultural heritage, ancient groves, historic buildings, is irreversible. These places hold memories and identity for entire communities, and their destruction severs a vital link to the past. Extreme weather deepens social inequalities. The poorest are hit hardest, lacking resources to escape or rebuild. Disasters widen the gap between those who can recover and those who are left behind, compounding cycles of poverty. Outdoor workers face impossible choices between health and livelihood. Farmers, builders, and delivery drivers must risk their well-being just to earn a living, often without adequate protection or support. The climate crisis is a justice issue, not just an environmental one. It exposes and amplifies existing inequalities, demanding urgent action from all levels of society. Constant disaster stress erodes social cohesion and trust. Communities that once thrived on connection and mutual aid now struggle to maintain hope and unity in the face of repeated hardship. Europe's natural beauty is being degraded by fire and drought. Iconic landscapes are vanishing, and with them, the sense of place and wonder that inspires generations. The true cost is measured in grief, fear, and the erosion of our quality of life. As we confront these challenges, we must remember the faces and stories behind the numbers, and strive to protect not just our environment, but our shared humanity. Why is Europe's weather so extreme? The answer is climate change. Burning fossil fuels has trapped heat in our atmosphere, raising global temperatures. A warmer world means more energy in the climate system, fueling more intense weather. Hotter air holds more moisture, making downpours heavier and floods more likely. Higher temperatures dry out landscapes, leading to droughts and wildfires. Climate change doesn't just intensify weather, it changes patterns, making heat waves and storms more frequent. Attribution science shows events like Spain's wildfires are now 40 times more likely due to climate breakdown. These aren't random acts of nature. They're the predictable result of our actions. After a disaster, people ask, was this climate change? Until now, answers took months or years. In 2025, the EU launches a rapid climate attribution service, run by Copernicus. Scientists will quickly compare real-world data and climate models to show how much climate change influenced an event. Reports will be delivered within days, not months, transforming public and political conversations. This clarity helps fight misinformation and support stronger climate policies. Policymakers can justify investments in adaptation, and communities can better understand their risks. The new Copernicus service turns science into a tool for urgent action. Europe's winters are also changing thanks to the polar vortex. The polar vortex is a swirling mass of cold air over the poles, kept in place by strong winds. When stable, it keeps Arctic air locked away, giving Europe milder winters. But if disrupted, frigid air escapes south, bringing snow and deep cold. These disruptions cause some of Europe's most memorable, chaotic winters. Scientists are studying how climate change may be making the vortex more unstable. Rapid Arctic warming could mean more frequent disruptions. The state of the polar vortex will shape Europe's winter in 2025-26, reminding us that climate change brings extremes of both heat and cold. A weakened polar vortex is often triggered by sudden stratospheric warming, or SSW. During SSW, temperatures high above the Arctic can rise by 50 degrees C in days, disrupting atmospheric circulation. This weakens the vortex, letting cold air spill south. The effects take days to weeks to reach the surface, giving forecasters a warning window. Once it hits, Europe can see dramatic cold snaps and heavy snow. Forecasts for late 2025 suggest a rare, early SSW, raising the risk of a cold, snowy winter. In our changing climate, we must be ready for extreme cold as well as heat. Facing wilder weather, inaction isn't an option. Governments must accelerate the shift from fossil fuels, scaling up renewables, improving efficiency, and ending fossil subsidies. Cities need stronger flood defenses, more green spaces, and upgraded infrastructure. Early warning systems and well-equipped emergency services are essential. Individuals can make homes more resilient and reduce their carbon footprints. Community action, like checking on vulnerable neighbors, builds resilience. Every small action, multiplied, drives change and political momentum. Tackling extreme weather requires collective effort, innovation, and long-term thinking. The costs of inaction are too high. The time to act is now. By reducing emissions and adapting, we can protect Europe from the wild weather ahead.